Thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week we talk about the Royals and Ryan Coogler. We end with our weekly feature, the Comments of the Week. The stories, photos, and tweets we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 118. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra, I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
So we're going to have an episode out next week, and then we'll be off March 26th. And then the Oscars are the 27th. I've been trying to, make my way through the Oscar movies, and I saw King Richard. And it's like you were saying, you said it was good, but I was so impressed by how good it was, and I loved it. It was just amazing.
It was, at heart, a really good family film.
Yeah.
That's something that you could watch with little kids.
Oh, I didn't even think of that because I don't have little kids anymore.
But, there's no profanity. There's some violence, but they really soft-pedaled a lot of the racism that Richard Williams experienced and that Serena and Venus experienced even when they were little kids.
Yeah.
It was just a really good family film, and I thought Will Smith did a great job.
He was excellent, and you really believed him in the role. Yeah. Usually you're like, okay, that's Will Smith. I didn't even think of that. I just got absorbed in this movie.
He was really acting, and especially with his voice. He was doing a very good Richard Williams voice.
He seemed really tired and run down towards the end too. You could tell he was getting old.
Yeah, but Richard Williams, he still coached Venus and Serena and Oracene as well. She coached them well into their 20s, even I think around the time that Serena turned 30, that's when she got a new coach.
It's just a story that it's going to be inspiring, but you don't know how inspiring it's going to be. And they didn't make it schmaltzy. They made him seem kind of blustery and obnoxious, but you could tell he meant it for his children.
Yeah. He was doing so much of the right stuff, and he was genuinely afraid of what would happen to the girls if he behaved like the other tennis parents that he saw, the white tennis parents.
I like that part of it.
Yeah, he really cared about mental health before that was even a conversation in tennis or in the world. He wanted them to be well-developed young women. He wanted them to have other interests besides tennis.
Yep, he didn't just push them into tennis in the junior circuit. And he made him go to school.
Yep.
It was excellent. It was such a good movie. And it was 2 hours and 20-something minutes. I didn't care. I usually hate it. Anything over an hour and a half, you know me. I'm like, come on, wrap it up. This movie, I didn't want it to end because it brought you into this world and it just felt so good.
Yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah, I know it's not going to win Best Picture, but it's my pick. It really is.
It could.
I haven't seen a couple movies yet. I also saw CODA and Drive My Car this week.
I still haven't seen either of those. I'm going to.
Okay. CODA I really liked. It was very good. That'll probably win Best Picture, and I am happy for them. They earned it. It was a sweet movie. It also wasn't schmaltzy, and it was a good, solid movie. Drive My Car is 3 hours, and you really feel it. There are very good scenes in it where you're like, oh, and you're talking back to the TV, and it's wicked deep. But they could have cut 45 minutes, and it would have been the same.
What is with the really long movies this year? It feels like it's happening a lot this year that everyone is like, fuck it, we're making a 3-hour movie.
They think we're home and they're probably bored too and they want more work to do themselves. So they're like, here, take this.
No, it is self-indulgent for the director.
It is,
and
yeah.
I feel like it's also disrespectful to editors and the great work editors do.
Yes, I agree.
A good editor will tell the truth to their director and say, actually, this movie is 20 minutes too long. Here's what you can cut.
And a good director will listen, but an arrogant one won't. So you saw Dune, right? I haven't seen it yet. Did you like it?
Oh, yeah, I did see Dune. Okay. I did like it.
You forgot.
Well, we didn't have it in the outline. I was like, I guess we're going to talk about it. Dune was really good. Timothée Chalamet's character, Paul, he's kind of annoying in some parts, but Timothy is such a good actor that you still find the character compelling even when he's being a little bit bratty.
Okay.
Oscar Isaac, though, oh my God.
He's so fine.
He's so fine, but there's this one scene where he's naked. You don't really see anything, but he's naked and in front of like all of these people. Oh God, it's so fucking hot.
Okay, I'm going to pay for it. I was mad I missed it when it was on HBO. My kid is a big Dune fan. He's read a bunch of the books, and he was like, I didn't like it. Wasn't that good? So, but I'll watch it.
It was too long, and there were some moments where I was like, well, you should have predicted that shit. But I didn't realize that Paul's mother is like a witch.
Yeah, I saw the original movie.
Yeah, and that she has such a big part. Rebecca Ferguson plays his mom, and she's very good in it. Her part is very girl power, sort of.
Okay. I know what happens because I saw the movie with my son. That was trash, the David Lynch one. And David Lynch hates it too. But I'll watch this one.
The thing I really liked about it was that it's a very beautiful film. It was beautifully shot. And the cinematography, that part of it is gorgeous.
I'll give it a chance. I want to watch all the nominated movies. All right, let's talk about the royals. So we're going to start with this, even though it happened recently and it's later in the week. William and Kate visited the Ukrainian Cultural Centre in London. And that's weird because we kept hearing that Kate was going to do more solo visits, but they went to this one together. And William made a racist statement. It was obviously racist. He got called out on it from multiple outlets. So it was reported that he said Britons were more used to seeing conflict in Africa and Asia. Now, that wasn't a direct quote. And then after that, he said, quote, everyone is horrified by what they are seeing, the news every day. It's almost unfathomable. For our generation, it's very alien to see this in Europe. We're all right behind you. And the part where he said it's very alien to see this in Europe, everyone's like, whoa.
Yeah, even with the take back, I mean, obviously Kensington Palace was like, he never said anything about Africa and Asia.
They took that back, and the Press Association, Richard Palmer, who reported that, just said he misheard.
Right, and they never put that in quotes. So I felt like that was really nitpicking, especially since most people were like, hey, this part is racist, and they're talking about the part of it's very alien to see this in Europe. That was actually the talking point.
Yes. And it's implied, even if he didn't say Africa and Asia.
Right.
But it does make sense that he said it and they lied about it. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because Palmer is a seasoned reporter.
Well, he's a hack, but sure, he's a seasoned reporter as well.
Well, in this instance, we could call him a seasoned reporter. And then they released this video from behind, where William is saying it and he's kind of mumbly, so you can't hear him. They're trying to do damage control. Damage control would have been, we recognize all refugees and all conflicts, and that was something I shouldn't have said.
Right.
Would have been an additional statement.
And it's not even like William is the only one saying those kind of tone-deaf things. Reporters are making the same fucking mistake. I mean, seasoned reporters, not Richard Palmer. Like CNN reporters, saying like, oh, we've never seen anything like this in Europe, or it's different because they're white.
They say that out loud.
Yeah, they really do.
This is not the first time William has made a racist statement in the press, like openly. In 2017... he blamed Africa's rapidly growing human population for, pressure on the habitat and the wildlife. This was a conservation speech he gave. He doubled down on that last year in November, and he called population growth in Africa like a challenge for conservationists. So he never changed his tune.
Yeah, I mean, William is just of that mindset that Africans are having too many children, and that is a danger. It's bad for conservation that Africa's population is exploding.
But he lives in multiple castles with 3 children and takes helicopters everywhere. But sure, it's the African issue.
The first time he said that shit about overpopulation, Kate was pregnant with Louis.
Yeah. And now they have 3, and she wants more because she's broody.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a mess. And that was like also the issue with his comments this week. You're trying to take back something that you may or may not have said. Okay, fine. But you actually said that other part on the record. Just like
Yes.
you said all this other shit on the record in speeches.
He's terrible and obvious. It's obvious who he is. So we talked about this on Zoom, and this is Amira, Ashley, and Karen.
Well, have you noticed that what Charles said was right on point, but what William said wasn't? And I'm starting to wonder if there's a little bit of sabotage going on there. Like Charles is briefed and told what to say, and William is just sent out on his own.
If he is sabotaged, it's by his own people, because the briefings come from in their own homes. So Clarence House is briefing Charles, and Kensington Palace should be briefing William. Then that means he doesn't have anyone on his team who's telling him anything. Even if you're kissing his butt, you should still be like, oh, hey, by the way, kiss, kiss. I don't want you to look bad. Don't do this.
Or what if it's he was briefed and he's like, I don't want to talk to you guys. I've got this.
Oh, sure.
And then they're like, oh, you've got this? Okay, you've got this. And then they just stop briefing him.
Yeah. And he also has a temper. So everybody has to, walk on eggshells around him anyway.
So do you think he's refusing to be briefed, like Amira mentioned, or he just says he doesn't need it?
No, I always think that William has been briefed, that he gets his briefing documents, that people are actually physically in front of him telling him, this is what you need to say, this is the talking point. And he just forgets or ignores them or doesn't care or thinks he knows better. That's William's fundamental problem, especially with how he runs PR. He always thinks that he knows better. He thinks that he's a PR genius.
That's why they tell us all their shit.
That is why Kensington Palace is such a fucking clown show. That's why the Jason Knopf thing has continually blown up in their faces over and over again. It's because William is calling the fucking shots and he's an idiot.
But he thinks he knows better.
Yep.
So last week after we recorded, we heard that Samantha Markle, that's Meghan's half sister, is suing her for $75,000 for supposedly misrepresenting their childhood in the Oprah interview or something. And she's claiming that it hurt the sales of her self-published book. It's just a money grab. And Meghan's lawyer dealt with it really well in a brief but very telling statement. And they said, this baseless and absurd lawsuit is just a continuation of a pattern of disturbing behavior. We will give it the minimum attention necessary, which is all it deserves.
And it is a pattern of disturbing behavior. Thomas Markle is very toxic, but Samantha Markle she disgusts me. How fucking crazy she is.
Didn't she show up outside the palace?
She did, and Thomas Markle did too. Thomas Markle dropped off a letter or something. That happened in 2018, I think.
Damn, these people are crazy. And there's speculation that Meghan could be deposed for this lawsuit, but I think they're just grasping at straws because they don't have anything to talk about.
And much like Thomas Markle, I suspect that Samantha is being bankrolled in some way or put up to it in some way by a British tabloid. I've long believed that Thomas Markle is having scripts fed to him by a British tabloid journalist.
And when he varies from that, they try to take it back. When he mentions who hooked him up.
Right. And I think Samantha is kind of the same way. I think she's being fed scripts. I think they're making very strong suggestions and saying, oh, we'll pay for this.
Yeah, that sounds like about right from them. So we also got more stories that suggest that Kate and William are separated. And it's like they're preparing us for it, right? So last week we talked about Dan Wooten's piece saying that Kate is going to be making more appearances without William. And then the Daily Mail had another story this week saying that Kate is more confident and more relaxed on trips without William because she doesn't have to check in with him before she does things. And that really rings true when you look at their body language in photos and videos.
Yeah, Kate seems especially needy when she's around William, but she's also terrified that she's going to make a mistake in front of him.
Probably because he gives her hell when she does.
Well, he just looks at her like he's disgusted by her.
He's the terrible husband. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but I bet he's terrible to live with, too.
Well, I bet they're both giant assholes.
Oh, yeah, they've shown that to us again and again. I think that this dynamic is true that they're laying out here, that Kate is more relaxed without him because he's an asshole and he nitpicks her. And then Angela Levin had analysis of their relationship. She said that Kate is devoting her life to making William happy and helping him feel important and worthy. This sounds really true.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the one accurate piece of reporting or analysis from Angela Levin.
Yeah.
The Angela Levin quotes, they reminded me so much of Kate's birthday extravaganza. She had every media outlet, run all these crazy pieces about what her life is like and how wonderful she is at 40 and all this stuff. And like the thread through all of the pieces was that she was trying to convince everyone that William just likes her and wants to spend time with her. It came across as very sad.
Yeah. Like they'll tell us exactly what they want us to think and they'll show us something different. And that's what's happened in so many different PR pieces from them.
Yeah. And I think that the royal reporters, they're not completely stupid. They know what they're doing. They're leaving the trail of breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
William's affairs are open secrets.
So we also got a surprise photo of Prince Harry at a rodeo in Fort Worth, Texas over the weekend. And everyone was like, whoa, what's Harry doing in Texas? And Biden was there at the same time, not at that rodeo, but he was in Fort Worth. So I'm hoping we get some more information about what Harry was doing in that area.
I kept looking for some sort of confirmation that they had a meeting and nothing was ever confirmed. I still don't know. Maybe Harry was doing something with Better Up. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe it wasn't about Biden or veterans.
Oh, it could have been.
Maybe it was about Better Up. Or he could have been seeing a friend. You never know.
But who? And then Camilla Tominey wrote an article about how the Sussexes are, quote, rarely seen in LA and certainly not in the Hollywood party scene. And she added that they don't even go to the award shows, even though they're surely invited to those. And what was that about? Like, she's being snide that they don't do what everyone said they would do and search for coverage and publicity. It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, so the Tominey piece, the main thesis was, what are Harry and Meghan doing 1 year after the Oprah interview?
Oh, yeah, okay.
And she was like, they haven't done anything at all. We never even see them because everyone hates them.
No.
And then the other side of that was, and whenever we do see them, they're fame whores. We hate them.
They only did like the NAACP thing and some appearances for the vaccine equity campaign.
Yeah, and they went to New York and they visited the Afghan refugees and like they did all this great stuff over the past year. And she had the most negative slant on everything. So yeah, she's pissed that we haven't seen enough of them. That was basically it. She's mad that we haven't seen enough of them. She's mad that they aren't doing all these amazing things, even though they are.
And when they do stuff, it's very impactful because they plan
and they get wall-to-wall coverage.
Yes.
And besides all that, they're actually living the lives that they want to live. They're totally private. They have people around them that they trust. They don't have to be in everyone's faces 24/7.
Yep. They haven't even gotten Instagram or anything like that.
Right.
So there's speculation that they're going to visit the Queen in April, but that's just wishful thinking by the press. They really want to get some photos and something to report on, so they're just kind of hyping us.
And there's the belief, a strong belief, that Harry and Meghan will both be in the Netherlands in April for the Invictus Games.
Oh, okay.
So there's the thought that maybe they'll stop in to see the Queen as they're coming or leaving the Netherlands.
Yeah, because she's not going to be around that much longer. No, I mean, the lady is 94. Come on. If I had a grandma that old, I wouldn't say it to her face. You know.
I mean, she was looking kind of spry when she met Justin Trudeau.
Everybody looks spry when they meet Trudeau. There's some good stories about the Sussexes, like some positive stories from the royal commenters who like them. So Tom Quinn said that Harry is madly in love with Meghan and wants to make her happy. I mean, that's basically what we all say when we see them together or hear them talk about each other. And then a commenter in the Irish Times named Peter Hunt wrote that the royals should have worked harder to accommodate Harry and Meghan because they adapt for other royals in other situations, but they really push them out.
Yeah, Peter Hunt is a real one.
Yeah.
He's been saying that for a few years, basically ever since Harry and Meghan left the UK. He's been saying, you know what, this is a mistake. He was saying it was a mistake for the Windsors, that they
Yes.
couldn't have found a way to keep Harry and Meghan in the country.
And they're learning. All right, let's talk about Ryan Coogler.
This story is upsetting.
It is very upsetting. So it's a trigger warning. You guys who are listening to this probably already know about this story. So Black Panther director Ryan Coogler was handcuffed by cops and removed from a Bank of America in Atlanta in January when he tried to withdraw $12,000 from his own account. So we're just hearing about it now, and we got this account in TMZ, which was mischaracterizing it. So he wrote a letter to the teller on the withdrawal slip saying he wanted her to count the money in the back because he didn't want people to see what he was leaving with. But then we got the videos of it, which were the body cams from the officers, and he told them that he put his card in there, he put his PIN number in, and he gave her his identification.
Right.
What's more is the 911 call came out, and in that, the teller admits that he gave her his identification, but like she couldn't handle it because it was from California or something.
Well, and even the 911 operator was skeptical.
Yes.
She was like, is this really a bank robbery or is this something else entirely?
Or
She was like,
just want discretion, she said.
and that was all Ryan Coogler wanted, was discretion.
He said,
he told the cops, he spoke to the teller. He said, I have a note on there on the back. And he put in his ATM card. He put in his PIN number. He handed over his license. He was wearing a mask, which he would have pulled down, I'm sure, if she wanted to verify his ID. And I don't understand how this went sideways within the bank.
That's outrageous.
And TMZ, in the initial reporting, TMZ tried to make it sound like, oh, because it was so much money that triggered the cops. No, it doesn't. When you take out over, I think it's like
10,000.
When you take out a certain amount, yeah, the bank gets a small alert because they have to report it to the IRS, and it's like a counterterrorism thing. It's not like, oh, anyone taking out $10,000 from a bank has the cops called on them.
And he told the cops afterwards that they were telling him everything's fine, she's taking care of you. I won't give everything. I'm going to play a clip from it. But he also told the cops he saw someone get killed at a CVS recently. And that's why he wanted discretion.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's a segment from that video where he's talking to the police.
Up to this point, every Bank of America I ever gone to in my entire fucking life just never happened. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So y'all explaining y'all perspective, right? Yeah. Y'all the ones with guns and vests. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What's my perspective? What's my perspective? At the bank, she never said it was a fucking problem, bro. I said, hey, is that going to be okay with you? She said, yeah. I put my own card in, put my own PIN in. She asked to see my ID. I gave it to her. Yeah. And she goes in the back, and then people keep coming out, hey, they taking care of you. They taking care of you. Everything. No, it's taking a little while. Next thing I hear fucking Glocks. Yeah. I hear Glocks getting pulled out. That's what I hear.
You're a Glock.
I hear Glocks getting pulled out from unholstering. Mm-hmm. Hey, sir, can I talk to you for a minute? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you see my perspective. Yeah.
It's hard to watch. It's hard to see him get arrested and come to the realization that he's getting arrested. Like, he was startled at first. He immediately puts his hands behind his back, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the man who directed Fruitvale Station. Yeah. I mean, that really bothers me. And it bothers me that the bank, his bank, would do that to one of their customers, to do that to one of their clients.
The supervisor told the teller to call the police.
It's asinine. It's completely asinine.
Yeah. And I'm sure he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars in there, and he's put his damn PIN number in there. Like, that's not his money? Come on.
The way Bank of America handled this entire situation is utter trash. And I believe, I'll say allegedly, that because this happened in January, Bank of America knew that the story was going to come out eventually. They were locked and loaded with PR people to blanket the media and the comment sections of blogs and Twitter and everything else to blame Ryan Coogler for this incident. And that is deplorable.
It's also despicable the amount of people who wanted to say, well, what did he do? He didn't do this right. He didn't do that right. It was a lot. And I ended up blocking the comments on the original article because of the trolling. And then we got the videos out. I believe that that was deliberate too. The way that the story came out where we didn't get all the details at first.
I'm sure.
And that's just like fucking TMZ to do it that way too.
Yeah, I don't know how the story leaked because they had the footage from inside the bank of Coogler with his mask on. So I don't know. I would assume that someone in the bank probably leaked it at first, and then maybe the Atlanta PD was like, actually, here's what happened.
And then they got the other videos.
Here was our action. And I mean, thank God the cops didn't use force.
Yeah.
It's horrible that they were in that situation and that Coogler was in that situation because the bank couldn't find their ass with both hands in a map.
I'm sorry he went through that. And I also can't imagine what kind of PTSD you get from going through stuff like that and just thinking that it could happen at any time.
I mean, even on that video, he was so calm. And, like, you could tell he was upset, but he was still making sure that he kept calm in front of the cops.
Because you have to do that, and it sucks that you have to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And how many other stories are we hearing about prominent Black men being mistaken for criminals just because they're Black and walking somewhere?
Exactly.
And these are the people we hear about.
Do you remember that time that Chris Rock made a point of like keeping a camera in his car? He would turn it on every time the cops pulled him over in his neighborhood. That happened years ago. It was like every few weeks he would just get pulled over for over nothing. There would be just like, oh, just checking.
So everyone can get a dash cam. You can get them off Amazon. I got one for my son for Christmas because he's new to driving. But I started using it, so I bought another one. And they're just a little over $100. And I would recommend it. And then you just get a high capacity micro SD card and stick it in there. I just have mine running whenever I drive. Because people drive like assholes. You want to have evidence of that.
Yeah.
And it's worse for, people of color have to worry about getting pulled over by the cops. You have a record. Just have that thing running all the time. I have one now. No, I seriously recommend it.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to the comments of the week.
You want me to do mine first?
Yeah, if you want.
All right, my comment of the week is from a story that's not getting as much attention. It's a royal story. It's about the Swedish royals, Crown Princess Victoria and Prince Daniel. They've been married, it'll be 11 years very soon. And they've been together for the better part of 2 decades. And there are all these rumors in Sweden about how their marriage is in trouble and they're having a lot of marriage drama. And maybe Victoria is trying to figure out if she wants to file for divorce. And a few weeks ago, they issued a joint statement saying, our marriage is fine, blah, blah, blah. But they've only stepped out 4 times in the past 3 months. It's been strange. There's a weird vibe. Yeah. And that's what my comment of the week is. It's from Luna17. And she says, I'm getting weird vibes from them. I don't know. This statement was weird. And I think there probably is a grain of truth that the relationship isn't great right now. 12 years is a long time to be together and you change a lot. I think that they are at the breakup or try and make this work crossroad. Hopefully they will do whatever is best for themselves, etc. Yeah, I think that's where they are. And I mean, they've been together longer than 12 years.
Okay.
It's almost been 20 years.
They look more united than Will and Kate do.
That's true.
That bar is very low, but they look at each other with affection.
Yeah, but the vibe is definitely weird, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, they might have an amicable split if they're going to split.
I think it's more likely that they're just doing we need some space from each other, we'll stay married and we'll just have some space and see how that works.
Yeah.
Just live separately for a few months and see how that works out.
Will and Kate are farther than that. They've been doing that for a while, probably.
Yeah, Will and Kate have been doing that since the pandemic, basically.
So my comment of the week is on the post about the trailer for Deep Water, and that's the cheesy-ass movie with Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas. And it looks like they're married and they have a kid, and she cheats on him and he acts okay with it, but then he like murders her lovers or something. You covered that.
Well, I think they made the choice to have an open marriage, and she's like flaunting it in front of him, and he's like getting off on it, but also he like murders all of her lovers. Yeah.
That's coming March 18th, and it's Hulu, so it's a direct-to-video. So Lena said, this is exactly the kind of stuff I'll watch on the treadmill in the morning just to make fun of it later. Well, yeah, it looks good and trashy.
Yeah, it looks very trashy. The trailer was just sending me, though. It was so funny.
The little girl's like, why is mommy different?
This isn't a game, Melinda. Oh, God.
And you know they were banging, so you could kind of read that into them.
Yeah. They seem to have a kind of fun, sexy, stupid chemistry together.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thank you for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you like us, please turn off your ad blocker when you visit our site. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 434-218-3219. Our music is from AA Alto, Maiden, and via Premium Beat and Sound of Picture. Thanks again.